Yo YouTube, it's your boy AJ back at it again with another video, and in today's video we're going to be going over how just Kuro Games has just changed the gacha space forever, how the dev team has done something that I don't know if it'll ever be recreated, guys, but I really hope it does, and it allows the future of gacha to prosper in a better light. And normally I'm going to do my normal intro, but the one thing I really want to talk about is how Kuro Games has done something that out of the big four and all gacha games, really, not all gacha games in terms of like, you know, your Nikkeis, your Cookie Run Kingdoms, your basically the smaller ones that reward you, you know what I mean, that I know people play, but on the grand scale of how big Wuthering Waves is as a game, you know, Wuthering Waves, when it came out and it was looked at, right, it was supposed to be this grand competitor to the Genshin Impacts, another competition to HSR, even though I do believe the HSR space and the Wuthering Waves space has very much a cross, and pretty much the fan bases aren't really like beefing with each other, rivals or anything. I don't even really think they're competing with each other, to be honest, but you know, the revenue charts, people are gonna always say so that are pro Hoyo and pro Kuro. But I think in terms of what WUWA is doing, and there are four main reasons I want to get into, is the lack of no FOMO at all. And for those of you who don't understand what I mean, and I'm going to get into it right now as to how this is going to affect other gacha games going forward, the big ones like the Neverness to Everness, like Azure Camellya, Project Mugen, who are probably have seen what Wuthering Waves is doing and looking at it. And let's get into it. Let's start off with how much they've compensated for players, basically two players, for their mistakes. If you guys remember, Wuthering Waves didn't have the greatest start at all at the beginning of the year. There were some rocky roads there. There was a lot of hate watchers too from the Hoyoverse side, because it was always hyped up to be this Genshin killer. And obviously, guys, no game is really the Genshin killer, because everybody, if you're just smart enough to realize, Genshin has always been popular because not only of COVID, but because Genshin is almost like it had to walk for everybody else to run. Like, I genuinely do believe that. But Genshin just stayed walking. They never really went to running. HSR came out, it got off the ground. Wuthering Waves came out, it got off the ground. You can say what you want about ZZZ. ZZZ does have some early game issues with the TVs, but if you're into the TVs, then you have no problem, and you even enjoy ZZZ, right? But with WUWA, it's almost like when other gacha companies make a mistake, and I really mean just Hoyoverse, the big four, right? Because I'm not sure about the smaller ones. They will compensate you for, here's a little bit of Astrite, here's a little bit of this, right? Well, while Wuthering Waves does that, Wuthering Waves is also like, oh, here's a mistake, here's a free 5-star. You can pick whoever you want for free. Oh, here's a mistake, let me offer us more rewards, more pulls, more this. The next thing I want to even talk about is just the shift that they've done, which is the weapon banner being 100% guaranteed, which is pretty crazy to me, because weapons are always looked at for light spenders and free to play. They can't always get everything for an individual character, you know what I mean? And weapons do, especially signature weapons, not only like boost a character whose ever signature it is to another level, because it is this big power spike. It's almost like if you play Dragon Ball, you know, a character with their weapon is like going from like Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan God almost. That's the big reference there. Shout out to anybody who does watch Dragon Ball. But it is definitely something that's really crazy, that you can win a 50-50 early, and if you have the pulls, this weapon, if you hit hard pity, is guaranteed. But you can also get that weapon early, and when you see that gold glow, right, it's just 100% there, and that's a very satisfying feeling from a company. The third thing is how rewarding they are also with bare minimum rewards, and that's another thing that I've talked about too. I've said that the Kuro Games rewards, right, or not their rewards particularly, but their events, right, can be better, can be improved at times, right, with some of the ones they've done. However, one thing I'll never complain about with Wuthering Waves is the amount of events we get. Sometimes, guys, in gacha games, there are events that are very, very tedious, you know, and we sometimes try to get through it, or we're like, I don't really want to do it today, I'll do it later till the last day. Or maybe you're somebody who just grinds right away. But even then, we all have been there where there's been 1 or 2 or 3 events where we just don't like, we don't want to see, and we're like, why don't they do something different? One thing that Kuro Games has always done is how quickly the events are. There's never been anything tedious. They always give you great amount of rewards, great amount of materials, and they always respect the player base is time. Even when the bare concept of the game came out with echo farming, a lot of us are gated when farming relics for characters we really like to get them to their full potential. The one thing about Kuro Games is we can keep infinitely farming if you want that choice and that opportunity to do that to further boost the character. We've seen it, guys. There are people who have really good characters built, there are people who have very decent characters built, and there are people who went above and beyond, grinded non-stop, right, and have the max potential through the roof, crazy builds with crazy numbers. And that's a great feeling to have for a game, especially that's a gacha game and these devs are listening. The fourth and final thing is I want to talk to you guys about is how they are committed to their player base for the long run. And the one thing that it starts with is, if you guys remember back in the gacha revenue, and even that video was definitely a polarizing video for me even to put out or even talk about, because the normal Kuro fan base and the Kuro community does support that video and everything the gacha revenue stood for. And we all know that that was the mobile side, how things are, you know, the numbers were changing, maybe it was lied about, and it's just very weird. But the one thing the developers have said from day one about Wuthering Waves, and I appreciate them, is that as long as they stay afloat, they're not going anywhere. We don't have to worry about end of service or anything like that, guys. And I do believe the Kuro community does support them really well, but they're also generous at heart. Giving us a free Zhang Liao for almost no milestone really hit is incredible. You know what I mean? We don't know what the anniversary holds in the future. There's so many different things that this company can do. The other thing is quality of life changes. You know what I mean? Like, think about this, guys, and I don't like to bring up Genshin, but how many times has Genshin said they're going to do X, Y, and Z, or people have expected it over the years, and they're on their 5.0, something like that, right? But they've never gotten it through. But then when Wuwa comes out, they're like, oh, we'll upgrade our stamina. What's funny is I think their stamina is still lower than Wuwa's stamina, and Wuwa keeps putting out quality of life changes. There's mobile support, mobile players have controller support now. We keep getting more quality of life issues, whether it's the stuttering, the higher quality to play on, making the game smoother. We just got stuff with the echoes now. We can like basically pick whichever echoes that we don't like and keep constantly picking them and do one massive reroll, you know what I mean? Rather than, oh, we got to keep watching the spin again and again and again and again. Also tracking the echoes, and they're still not done, guys, because they care about us. Every criticism that was in previous patches for this game, whether it was music, visuals, or stuff like that, was addressed with 1.3. People didn't mind the trailers that we were getting to see the rewards and the characters. However, they went out their way and said, you know what, we are getting this money now, let's use it wisely. Let's give them a good 30-40 minute live stream that was solely focused on the game. Nice shots. And did the hype live up to it? Yes, 100%. All in all, how does this affect the future of gacha gaming? And we were going to talk about that and these other big games. These other big games, like Kuro, you guys have to understand one thing about Wuthering Waves is that they were always the underdog, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at even all the other gachas, and especially these other companies that are making gachas, right, that are coming out, Kuro was still significantly smaller than them, because practically no one until now, maybe people are trying to test out PGR, looking at PGR, no one really knew what PGR was because of the lack of marketing. They were always relatively small. Like Azure Camellya, we know it's being made by the people of Azure Lane, you know what I mean? Project Mugen, Neverness to Everness, they all, whether their reputation is good or not, they all have been known for something, you know what I mean? If they got out to the mainstream at one point, however, Kuro wasn't. And the fact that they're still here, they're still providing a quality game that is amazing for us, a product and where we have no FOMO, we're rewarded, quality of life updates, co-op, I haven't even talked about co-op, but we don't have to go deep into that, but co-op, they're trying to improve. This company cares, and it's showing other big gachas that are coming out. Hey, you can be rewarding with your players, you know what I mean? Your players will still support you, they'll still be here for the long term, and that's why I think Kuro is doing something, the developers are doing something that's never been seen before, and they're making gacha history. But that's my take on it. That's how I've been feeling about Wuthering Waves lately. Let me know down in the comment section below, guys, if you guys agree with my points. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's been your boy AJ. We're trying to be the top Wuthering Waves creator in space. We're trying to hit 5K, and we're trying to get to 10. I love y'all. That was my normal intro. But yeah, guys, love y'all. Peace, love, positivity. I'm out. Later, guys.